Hopefully my camera is still working. G'day, Stu from UAVFutures. Sorry we are late to the stream. We're having some major technical difficulties behind the screens, behind the scenes, but welcome to our FPV live stream. Happy flying. Where every Monday, or my Monday anyway, we get together, we talk all things FPV, we hang out. I do have to apologize, I didn't put the announcement out a little bit earlier. Usually I like to get that done usually on my Sunday evening, but we had some stuff that came up. But here we are. Hopefully my audio is working. I just don't know if I want to adjust this microphone or not, but we are here. We're going to be talking a whole bunch of FPV things, answering some of your questions. We're going to be talking about the Caddx protos, actually, because I've got some exciting developments to share with you guys. And if I have a look at my little notes here, there's not actually too much that I have written down. Where are we? I want to talk about the chupito, a little about DJI, and then also a little sim that I was sent. And we'll talk about giving away some sim codes and that sort of stuff. But let's jump over here. See who is in the chat. I can see Johnny DRC. Thank you very much for your Discord message as well, Johnny DRC. We got Happy Flyer. Crazy Rooster, he's doing the graveyard shift, so a shout out to him. Hopefully you have a good working day. We can make it a little bit better here. And Handy Racer, huge shout out to everybody who is here. This is the best part of my working week. It's when I can connect with you guys, answer your questions, and just hang out and talk all things FPV. Now, we are going to be talking a lot of FPV, but one thing I want to mention every single time we start this stream, and also when we're ending the stream, I want to focus and just zoom in a little bit on mental health, and just to let those people know who are watching, the people who do need to hear this, that they are not alone, they are valued, and they are cared about, because I love FPV, and it is the best way that I know how to improve our lives. Like, it is so much fun. It has so many positive impacts. There is so much learning and just like getting out, exploring, being part of a community. It does so much for us as a hobby. And after doing this for 10 years, I've learned the thing that I really love about it is that improvement, and is all that joy that it can bring and the positivity that it can bring to people's lives. So if we can do that on the other front of mental health as well, and just to let people know that, hey, if you are suffering, and I know what it's like, I don't want those people to feel alone. So if you are watching this, and you might be interested in FPV, hopefully you are, but you might also just be going through some stuff and you feel like, man, I just don't feel quite right. And I would like to let you know that it's okay to talk about it. Please do not feel alone. You are valued. You are cared about. I am grateful that you are here. We have an amazing supportive community. And the best piece of advice that really changed my life was, like, if you broke your leg, you would probably go to the doctors. Well, I would hope you would. So if your head is just not feeling quite right, or your mind is not feeling right, please go and speak to somebody as well, because I know what it's like. And I don't want those people out there who are just going through that to feel like they have to suffer and this is as good as it gets and it can't get any better, because it can. And I'm here to tell you, I know from firsthand experience that it can. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there, that hopefully, look, maybe 99% of the people listening to this right now are like, yeah, come on, Stu, get onto the FPV. But for that one person, and this is what's most important about this whole live stream, that maybe it will make a difference, and just to put that out there, that this might be the message that changes their life. This might be the first little step of many on the road to just having some better positive mental health. So anyway, putting that out there. We got H&R Drone Racing. He's saying, hey everyone, hey Stu. Johnny DRC says he's going crazy. He doesn't have enough money for every single quad. There's a lot of quads out there. He also has been in the hobby for a long time, so he has quite a lot actually. But let me know before we jump in, what have you guys been up to this weekend? Have you been flying? What is something you're looking forward to flying? Just all in all, just throw that in the chat right now. Something that you would like to go fly, or something that you've been looking forward to, or maybe you've been flying this weekend. Maybe you've had a great time, or maybe it has been far too long since you've dusted off the sticks, charged those lipos, and gone out to the field. I should say I caught up with Stickman Steve on the weekend. We actually didn't do any flying. We went fishing, actually, so that was pretty fun. But he does have a big Mustang sort of warbird plane that he's been building. It's not big, like maybe 2 foot wide, and that looks so much fun. And he's put a little yaw adjustment on there, so when you yaw, the camera is on a bit of a servo, so it'll look out to the right or the left depending on which way you're going to yaw. So I can't wait to fly that around, and it looks pretty stable and not too tricky anyway. So I'm excited. I'm excited to try that out, and I will make sure I film it and bring you guys along. And maybe it'll be a members only video for you members out there or patrons, or maybe we'll just put it on the main channel. I'm not too sure. Let's see. And Jake is saying, Stu, much love from Brighton, USA, the country that gave you your nuclear submarines. Well, Jake, that's a bit of, I don't think we're ever going to get those submarines, my friend. I feel like we got scammed definitely by our government with that military deal right there with the USA. But let's not get too political. I'm going to answer Victor's question, and then I'm going to jump straight in, and we're going to talk about the Caddx Protos and show you some things on the screen as well. So Victor is saying, hey, I'm new to FPV. I've been doing good with the Sims, but I'm stuck. USA is impossible to get any DJI HD gear. Do you recommend the best route at the moment for someone waiting to get into HD FPV? My recommendation, if you are jumping into the hobby today and you live in the States and you want to fly HD, I think with everything considered, like if we look at the stock levels, let me just get this on the screen over here. And if I click this button, please don't break computer. If this break makes my computer break, I will be back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, that is good. Let's jump over right here. So if we're having a look at DJI 04s. So yeah, look at all these out of stock places. So at the moment, like if we head over to Buzz Hobbies, so that's in Australia. I think Brick Racing is in Europe, but yeah, here we go. So we can buy that in Australia, but if you're in the States, and you can also buy it in Europe, but in the States, this is definitely not good news. And this is what we were saying a little while ago, was that people were like, oh, it's just momentary, it's going to get better, just wait till the end of the month, like a bit of copium there. People were just really, really hoping. And it doesn't look like it's going to be getting any better. And the problem is DJI makes great stuff. It is almost mind-baffling, like how much they came into FPV, just the amazing things that they've been doing. And now, if you're in the States, you can't buy it. So Victor, if you are getting into FPV tomorrow and you're like, I want to do HD flying, and I really recommend that because that's the sort of, well, that's the flying that I would like to do. If I was speaking to my younger self that had, or older self, if I was speaking to a clone of myself that had never tried FPV, and I said, hey, these are the things that I like, what system would I recommend? I can no longer recommend DJI. I think if this had availability, this is what I would be going for. But now I actually think you've got two choices. Well, three choices, really. You can go analog, but that's not going to be that HD system. I wouldn't be recommending that to myself because I know that I love flying around with some juicy video. And then you've got Open IPC, HD0, and you've also got the Avatar system and the soon to be released, I don't know about the release date, of the Ascent system. So HD0 and Open IPC, I don't think the video quality is there if you're into racing. Sure, you're going to like it, but for me and my sort of flying, and I know Stickman Steve and some other pilots as well, unless you're doing that racing, it's hard to recommend that for the picture and the video quality. I really like Caddx. I liked Caddx a lot in 2024. Then I moved over to DJI in 2025. But now with the ban, I think Caddx is if I lived in the States and my clone lived there and they said, hey Stu, what do you want to get yourself to go flying? I would recommend the Avatar system. So heading over to DIY FPV, like let's just have a look here. Like the Goggles X. Look at all these places. So a couple that are out of stock right down the bottom, so like New Zealand and some other places, but yeah, every single place here you can get some digital. Now the only things to consider is we have a new side-by-side system called the Ascent. I should actually have this on the screen if we head over to right here. We've got these right here. So we've got a new system that's going to be coming out, but this is meant to be their like side by side or beginner system. This is not to replace what we've got with the Caddx avatar system. So yeah, my recommendation is, believe it or not, actually like the Goggles L. And I think for the price, like $200 for something like this is an amazing deal. Or $240 if you're in Australia. I think if you get them from the Caddx website, they're like $199. I don't know about tariffs. I don't know about any of that sort of, like, I don't know how much that implicates people or what those ramifications are going to be. But let me know, what would you guys flying? Like, if you were starting tomorrow, based on all the information, and you lived in the US, what system would you buy and why? What would you dive in to get? And just because these other systems do exist, like the DJI 04 Pros and everything, they are amazing, but it doesn't make this, what you see on the screen, any worse. I really like flying around this goggle. I think it's great. And for the price, it's pretty hard to beat as well. So anyway, yeah, hopefully that helped, Victor. If you get stuck at all, just head over to DIY send me a message. There's like a little message platform and everything. Shoot me a message. I'm happy to answer any questions to help you get flying. It's a fantastic hobby. I would recommend a Radio Master Pocket still as my beginner transmitter. It's ELRS. It's about as cheap as you can go, and it's still awesome. It's one of my favorite radios ever. It's just so easy to transport, and then coupled with something like this on the screen, you're going to have an amazing time. And then it's all really just went the drone in, and a lot of people put money into the drone and they think that's the important part. Do not do that. It's the drone, I think, should be the cheapest part of your equipment, because your drone is going to break, it's going to crash, it's not going to hold up in the long run. But a decent pair of goggles and a decent radio that's not just a cheap toy, it's going to last you for the lifetime of the hobby. And if somebody said, I can only ever fly with these, so I'm trying to figure out my left from my right, that's enough. This is enough for me. I would be more than happy. They said, Stu, you can only ever fly with these goggle L's. Fine. You can only ever fly with a Radio Master Pocket. Fine. No issue whatsoever. So yeah. Now, if you can get DJI, if you're in a country where you can get DJI, I do recommend that. And if you're a racer, when I went to my local Woot race, actually, I was surprised that not as many HD0 pilots were there. There were some, but a lot of people still just flying around analog. But HD0 has some advantages as well, just doing some really cool stuff. Johnny DRC, he's saying, I like my goggles L. Ryan, I'm looking forward to the Ascent system. Hopefully they also bring out a VRX for it. I would get analog with future VRX capabilities with the open IPC. That's from Crash Dude. And excuse me. Valerius, he's saying, I'm in the US, and he would say walk snail. And the beauty is, all the systems that we are talking about, you're going to have a great time with them. And I feel like there's a saying that's like, the smaller the difference, the bigger the divide when it comes to FPV, and people can really argue over which system is better. It reminds me like when I was a kid going to school and people would talk about like, oh, the Super Nintendo is better than the Genesis or the Mega Drive, whatever you wanted to call it over in the States, or Sega versus Nintendo and those things. At the end of the day, like, we were just kids who liked playing video games, and it's the same thing when it comes to FPV. Regardless of what somebody is flying, the important thing is they're having a good time. And I'm telling you, I've flown every single system. There is no one singular best system. And just because somebody else has something that's different doesn't mean that their choice is wrong. And it also doesn't mean that your choice was right. And a lot of people don't like to admit that to themselves. I feel like they can get really, really fired up that, yes, I've spent this money and this has to be the best decision. Like they have a vested interest, or it's a little bit scary for them to admit, like, oh, maybe this wasn't the best choice, or it can't do everything. They're not as open to being vulnerable about their purchases and the limitations of their system anyway. Happy RC Flyer is saying, people have been ordering DJI from Fly with no issues and no tariffs. Okay, that's kind of crazy. So I'm not going to say that that's advice, But if that's what people have been doing and they've been able to get some DJI O4s in and yeah, get them into the States by ordering through that, that's kind of cool. Which is weird because DJI and I'm thinking of iFlight. No, Flywoo. Yeah, I don't know what they've been doing. Tynos is saying, I'm in the USA and I just got the DJI Goggles 3, but I like HD0 because you can do more and better tricks if you're talking about latency, if that's what you mean. Johnny DRC says he's ordering right now. Thanks, Stu. My Boxer broke and it's cheaper getting the Pocket ELRS. Yeah, I really like the Pocket, man. I cannot recommend that enough. Flywoo even had the G3s for sale. Okay. Yeah, they're pretty rare. And I really like them. Like, if money is not your concern and you have the availability of different stock levels, getting the Goggles 3 with the DJI O4 Pro is the premium FPV experience. But you're going to pay for it, and it's not available to everybody. All right. I'm going to answer your question in a little bit, Ryan, because I do want to show you something right here. Now, this is a pretty massive leak that we have. However, my computer crashed before, so let me just find the right document. Get this on the screen. This is the Caddx Ascent system, which is coming with the Protos. So I'm going to show you some things, and we had some stills from this the other week. This looks like the full marketing material anyway that we're gonna go through and have a look at. So this is the new system coming from Caddx. All right, let's jump over here. This. So the Caddx Protos, it says down here, like I'm in the way a little bit. Fly bold while young. Minors must operate and fly under supervision and guidance of a parent or guardian. Anyway, look what we got on the screen right here. This is the Protos, and we're going to see if we can find some details in this marketing material right here. Get rid of these AI tools. I don't need a summary. No, thank you. We'll figure that out ourselves. All right. Oh, it just scrolls a complete page when I mouse down. FPV flying anywhere, anytime. Now, we saw a picture of these goggles last week, and I don't know how much of this is doctored or anything like that. So, besides this guy's immaculate hair, so 1.6 inches, 100 grams. I don't know what this means. 10,000 stability tests in indoor and outdoor flying. I don't know what that stability test. So this must be all about this little system right here, which the Ascent is part of. It's just 100 grams and 16 inches. Protos is the smallest digital HD FPV quad in its class. I don't know if that's true. What do you think? Because there's definitely this has an O4 Pro in it. This was I just reviewed this one. That's from the Dolly Fly 16. So that was a little bit, that's probably about the same size. So I'm not too sure about that. You'll notice if we look here, it's got a proprietary battery on the top, and it looks like a little latch here. I would be worried that I was going to snap that off, but we'll have to see. We got the goggles that we saw last week, almost exactly the same as the Goggles L, which I have no issues with. I really like the Goggles L. I like the shape. I like the form factor. The interesting part is, because I've had a look at this, there is no mention that we can buy the VTX separately. So we're going to have to see what that means. Okay, 100 grams, 100 kilometers in 3 seconds. That's kind of cool. Not so much the acceleration, but if we can break 100 kilometers, that means that it's no slouch and you can still have a bit of fun with it. And remember, the entire thing about this system they were saying about the Ascent is that it is going to be aimed at beginners to get people flying. So I really like that. And they said that it's going to be side by side with the Avatar system. And I was listening to Mad's Tech stream this morning, actually, and he had some really good takes on it as well, where he thinks that the Ascent system might evolve in the future and into what will become like hopefully exceeding the avatar system. But this is not a replacement for the avatar system at the moment. And they were talking about like in-house and like who makes the silicon and how they've come up with some things and what they're going to be working on. I don't have any of those details. I don't know what Caddx's plan is, but if there is a system that is getting people flying and it is cheaper, I'm all for that. So if we can give some people some beginner options to get flying, get into the hobby, give them some fun FPV experiences, like if my kid could learn to fly on something like this, I'm all for that, because our hobby is actually a pretty small niche and it is so life-changing. Like that's why we are here. That's why we like FPV. So to get like that is sort of something that I can really, really like. Now, Caddx also has a lot of work to do. I should get out of the way here. It says multiple modes, more fun. Just here. So anyway, I don't know. This is quite interesting actually. We have this is like, there's another slide too. I'll show you the entire package of everything. And I've got some questions actually when looking at this. So I don't know, like I don't care about the color scheme, orange or green, whatever it's going to be. The little remote here looks relatively cheap. The goggles, like we mentioned, I like them. The drone itself, so I think this is called the Protos. I don't know if the whole thing is called a Protos. I don't know if they're calling the kit a Protos, because we know the VTX is called the Ascent. So I don't know what the actual drone's called, or like we're gonna have to wait and see what they say about that. But yeah, I don't know. It looks not too much carbon fiber. I don't know if that's going to keep the price down. Again, we've got our multiple batteries, which I like. I know there are some kits out there that you can get flying, but then you have to charge. Like the very first drone that I ever bought came with one battery, and I hated that. So if we can do like 3 or 4 at a time, that's going to be good. It looks like it charges by these must be USB. Excuse me, I'm still recovering. Yeah, and then so this looks like it charges by USB. A pretty standard remote right here. I wouldn't be expecting too much. I feel like the weakest part of every single ready to fly is always the remote. That's probably the piece that lets it down. And then usually they're coupled with a really, really cheap headset, trying to keep the price down. But I've got no issues with this style of headset if it performs, like, but the shape of it and everything I do like. And then we looked at this. This is the slide we saw last week. They spoke about like some signal penetration, and this part I hope that they sell individually. I think Mads Tech said he expects it to come out just with the drone for a while first before they start to sell this. Only 6 grams, reduces the weight and energy consumption of the Protos. So yeah, I would like to see this at a cheap scale if you've got these cheap goggles as well. It'd be nice if you could buy this set of goggles as well as just the VRX. And then we can build them in our own custom drones. I don't really want to be locked in with some proprietary batteries and a proprietary remote. So let's see. What's this? All right, so 100 k's an hour. It's faster than a Peregrine Falcon on a dive. I don't think that's true. I think a Peregrine Falcon is like faster than that. Let's do a Google. Put this in the chat. How fast do you think is a Peregrine Falcon's dive? So, look at this for some. This is what we've got. The Peregrine Falcon's dive speed can exceed 320 kilometers per hour. So, or with some sources recording speeds of up to 386 kilometers. That's not faster. So maybe this is like an early, I don't know, marketing spin or something, or if there's been a translation. That's not true. Having a look at that. So we should need to change that. That's faster than, I don't know. We'll put your own thing in here, but we need citation, fact check. You know, we need a little little note there explaining that. It's also easy to pull off cool stunts. This doesn't interest me at all, except for this slide. This is quite interesting, what we've got right here. I don't care if you can press a button to do flips and rolls and turns. Like, I feel like that's aimed at kids, and it's fine because it's what beginners want to do. You know, if I'm getting my kids flying and they can just press something on the remote and it's going to do that, okay, fair enough. I don't care about that if I'm just doing FPV, and I don't think you guys really care about that as well. But if it can do that, interesting. Now, this part here, FOAC, flip over after crash, is what I'm going to assume that is. But on the bottom here, we can actually see a bunch of sensors, or at least something we don't see on a normal drone. And we'll get to that. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But yeah, so that's quite an interesting slide. I'm going to post all these on DIY FPV as well. If we head down here, here's the remote, powered by the A-Link ELRS technology. I don't know what A-Link means. Just like, do you think that's a translation of just like A quality? Supports popular FPV sims. You know what I think would be really good? This is my recommendation to Caddx. If you're I should send them an email and say, guys, you should develop a sim. They should give a sim that goes with this. They should make a protos sim or something that people can plug in. Do you think I think that's a great idea. I mean, I don't know how much that costs. I don't know anything about game development or anything like that. But a very basic sim of like, this is how your drone will respond in the air, and you can plug your remote in there and do a little bit of practice. That is great. I would really, really like that if that was included when you purchased this Caddx bundle. 10 channels, okay, that's fine. Hall effect gimbals, interesting. It still looks relatively cheap. I'm not expecting too much out of this right here. Welcome, Game of Drones. So yeah, this charged by USB. Interesting that they're pinching it here, and even though it's a game style controller, I think most people will probably start thumbing. If I gave this to kids today or people coming in, I don't think pinching is going to be their go-to. Okay, little charging hub. 10 minutes of flight time. That's quite a lot. 30 minutes. Oh, they're just saying, hey, you can fly for this long. Oh, and it does charge by USB. Yeah, here it is. Fully charge a single battery in 20 minutes. That's charging at a rate of more than 1C. That's at like 3C. So they're charging at like 2.4 amps. That's quite a lot, I think, for a little charger like that. Anyway, so we'll have to see. 10 minutes, I don't know, because that's a long time. I feel like everything here needs to be fact checked, and I wouldn't be trusting 10 minutes of, maybe 10 minutes of a very, very stable hover. But again, if you're like saying things as fast as a peregrine falcon, wherever this is, that's not true at all. So I also don't trust this 10 minutes, because we all know we've been flying for a long time. We're probably looking at like 2 to 3 maybe 4 minutes for most FPV scenarios. Now, beginners aren't going to fly as fast as we do. They're not going to push their drones as much as we do. We'll have to see. And then also that makes me question this one here. I swear 3 kilometers, this little part, 3 kilometers distance. I think that's what that's going to be talking about right here. Sorry, I just got to blow my nose. All right. Okay, what else about the protos? This one is probably one of the more interesting slides. Sharp imaging, strong low light performance. This is the part I kind of care about. I don't care about the protos system, the protos drone itself, but I do really care about what is the VTX going to be like and what that's going to offer. So here's a first slide. So 1080p, 60 frames per second. It doesn't need to be competing against DJI. They just need to compete on something else, which is going to be price and probably availability. Like that's going to be a big one. 147 degree field of view. This can sometimes, this will be interesting. Like that's obviously related to the camera that they've got on there and the lens. And I wonder if you're going to be able to swap the lens out or anything like that. I hope we get a camera lens that is not proprietary and not locked in. So I hope that it fits in. Like I hate the DJI 04 camera. The Pro or the Lite. I don't like how it's done. I prefer a traditional camera mounting solution. Take this with a grain of salt. We'll have to see. I don't know if it's said that it can record on board or not. So I'm not too sure. This is one of the slides that we had last week. So we sort of broke this down. I do really like the goggles. I think from everything that we've seen with Goggles L, these are going to be fine. I've got no problems as long as the performance is there in terms of video, which we are still yet to see. We did see some DVR last week as well. 3 flight modes. This is more about the actual Protos drone itself. Position hold, angle mode, and then acro mode. That's fine. I mean, it's for beginners, so I started on angle mode and position hold. If there's a button, I'm not too sure how this will work, but if there's a button that you can just press it and it freezes your drone, does that mean it's going to have GPS? Because it didn't look like it had GPS in here. So I don't know how it's doing that, unless it just means, how would it be doing that? Unless it's only like altitude hold. I'll answer your question in just a second, Casper. Just remind me again in a minute. I just want to finish going through this and talking about this Protos system. Oh, okay, maybe this is it. Smart hover and fail-safe lock. Fly with confidence. Optical flow positioning enables precise indoor hovering with about 0.6 centimeters of drift. I would check that number. Like, how are they? That's 6 millimeters. So this feels like a very early marketing, because like 6 centimeters or 0.6 centimeters, and there could be some translation differences. I'm not too sure. Incredibly beginner friendly for peace of mind. Oh, okay. Lock with 1 button, emergency recovers, ensure your drone is always protected. I do really like the idea of you are flying. Oh, I'm freaking out. I don't know what I'm doing. Just press a button, and if it can sort of lock itself in place, that's great. I don't know how that's going to work with without a GPS though. All right, let's see. Yeah, because it doesn't look like there's anything. Is there any? Where's the top? Yeah, no GPS on the top or anything like that. Okay. Never fear the crashes. It would be nice if they gave you a spare frame that comes in the box, but I don't think so when you're going to see a slide a little bit down further down below. Quick release propellers. Damage prop without a minute, no tools. Okay. I really hope these aren't proprietary props. I feel like they're going to be. Again, I'm kind of torn because we really want a system that's going to get people flying, but then I can't also criticize Caddx for bringing a great system that's going to get people flying, but then they're like, oh, but we want you to have to buy our props, or we want to sort of keep you in-house. I think that's just 2025, so I'm not going to blame a company for strong, not marketing's not even the right word, strong commercial best practices, but also delivering a good product. Obviously, it's not. We would like some things for us consumers. Like if these are proprietary props, that's annoying. Unless they're really cheap. If they're not trying to make money, too much money off something like this, then I'm all for that. It just depends, I guess. Do we have any examples in the past of Caddx with proprietary things? I think like Emacs might be an example where they've made some proprietary battery connectors that were pretty decent, but they pushed them out and gave them to everybody to use. It might have even been at free cost or something like that. So I don't know. Let's if we can just get, if these are just like normal prop prices, sure. If they're trying to charge you like $20 for some spare props, that's disappointing. Okay. I'm not going to be taking mine camping. Let's see. Indoor flight exploration, drone racing. I don't think if I had one of these, I'd be taking it drone racing either. Like, we also don't know how this is going to play with like other FPV systems. So where I see these scenarios looking here is like the one with the kid and then the one with the dad and son. Like, that's it. I don't think you're going to be really taking this to the races. I don't think you're going to be taking this going outdoor camping or anything like that. It's I don't know. It's all for fun, getting people flying. Someone's saying I don't like the inverted motors. Yeah, I've got no issues. Like, it's the same as something like this. It's interesting too. Like, this is a filming rig. This is designed to get beginners flying, with apparently 10 minutes of flight times and 100 kilometers per hour. Those numbers aren't adding up. All right, is this the end? Yeah, this is the last slide, and this one's probably the most interesting. So looking at this, only 3 batteries. I don't know what this is. That's the first time we've seen that. Maybe this is, like, it's got, does that say output? So right here, it says output. This might be a way to power your goggles, because if we look at the top screen, we've got our battery cable there as well, so I don't expect anything to change, but we don't have a battery cable when we're looking at this, and that's interesting because they need to make sure you have everything inside this kit if you're going to get flying. I would be extremely disappointed if I bought this for my kid, or if I bought this for me to get into FPV, and then I still had to go and buy a separate goggle cable or anything like that. So this does not look like a goggle cable battery, but there's nothing else on the screen. So got 4 spare props, spare shell. That's probably not the part that's going to break. Yeah, I like the charger. I've got no issues with the drone. The remote's probably just going to feel pretty cheap. I really like the look of the goggles. I don't know, what can I say? Probably the most interesting part, and this is what everybody wants to know, is how much is it going to cost? How good is the Ascent system? So the actual VTXs, that's what we really care about in this hobby, because you're going to outgrow this kit. If you get into this, it's going to keep people flying. You're going to probably, it's fine to keep these, But if you want to pull the guts out of this, hopefully we can buy the VTX separately right here, and we can put this into some of our systems. But again, it's for beginners, and it's not designed to, from everything that we've seen, to beat the Avatar walk snail system. And it's really confusing using all those names. So anyway, what do you guys think? That's a DJI goggle battery. Okay, is that what this one up here? Was there anything else on that VTX earlier, or was that an all-in-one? This looks like just a VTX. And I'm going to assume this has to be running Betaflight. So hopefully we can plug this in and figure some stuff out about it. This would be just the VTX. I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you get this? Would you get this kit? Like how much would you price this for as well? Like these goggles, I think if you let's break this down, right? Those goggles, they have to be cheaper, I think, than $199. Because if they're more expensive than that, why wouldn't you just go and buy the goggles L that work with the Avatar system, which is meant to perform better than this beginner system, or at least that's what they're telling us. I'm not too sure. The radio, it cannot be more expensive than a Radio Master Pocket. Like, if you look at what a Pocket cost and what the goggles L cost, and then compare it to these two, as a beginner kit, this has to be cheaper. And then you've basically got your drone and 3 batteries. What's a Mob 8? How much does a Mobula 8 cost? We can probably figure this out. Let's do this together. Who's gonna let's go to DIY FPV. Can some people price this for me? I'm going to get you guys to do these calculations, and I will be very, very grateful. So let's head over here. Head to here. So $199. Okay, so that's for the goggles. And now we need a Radio Master Pocket. What's a Pocket gonna run us? Let's see. $65. And this is all without tariff. Oh, that's the, yeah, okay. $65. So $265. Now we need a drone. So let's say, what's a cheap drone? Like, I was gonna say the Mobula 8, but maybe that's a little bit outdated. Like the Pico. What do we got? We should probably just have a look at some drones here. This is why I built this website. Something comparable. Here? This? Maybe? Like this is a walk. Here we go. This is a walk snail whoop. Yes, this is 1S instead of 2. 200 and let's say, do you think this is a fair price? Like, if we had a look at Phaser, $250. Okay, let's add $250. I think that's fair. And then we've got our, so we're at 260 plus 250. And then we still need to get some batteries and a charger and the cables. Caddx is pretty aggressive in their pricing. So here's my guess. If they really want to make a huge impact, I don't think this is possible. Can you imagine if you could buy this for $499? That would be pretty wild. Like Johnny DRC is saying that in the chat. It sounds like a great number, like under $500. We're talking US, we're not talking tariffs, we're not talking taxes, anything like that. However, I don't think they can make, I don't think that's feasible. I don't think they'd make any money on that. So it's probably $599 for a HD ready to fly kit. I don't know. Crash Dude is saying $459. Like, but you can't even do that. Like, we just price one together, and that is using. That's not including batteries. It's not including cables or anything like that. So, I'm not too sure. Someone's saying it's not an FPV quad. What's not FPV about this? You've got your goggles. You've got your radio. You can fly around in acro mode. So, what do you mean? Right there, Shane. Going to be closer to 700. Yeah, also, well, this is like 2S, so that's going to be more expensive. How much is the Neo FPV kit? What's the Neo? Oh, the DJI Neo drone. Okay. Ooh. Okay. This is a really good comparison. So this is from the UK. So this is $600. Very interesting. Basically the same thing. So, and this is a better pair of goggles. We've seen what the this has probably got what a DJI 04 Lite inside here, and we've seen what this can do. This is top tier in terms of digital FPV thing. So I was saying that the Neo wasn't really meant for FPV. Yeah, this is a very different craft too. This is not the same sort of flying. Yeah, you're right. What's the Caddx remote like? Motion? No, it is not. It is just a standard sort of gamepad style. And I do like, I prefer this, and you can actually plug this into simulators and everything like that. So I don't know. I think I'm going to say $599 if I had to guess how much this costs. And I don't know anything about Caddx's marketing plans. I don't know how much they cost to make. I don't know how much those other stores charge in profits. I don't know about taxes or anything like that, or tariffs, blah, blah, blah. This is a random Australian dude sitting in his kitchen talking to you guys about how much would I expect this to cost based on everything that I know. $599. And I would love it for $499, but I don't think that's possible. The scary part is it depends which way they want to go. And here's another recommendation, right? Because there's going to be people that say, hey, I really like this new system, but I'm flying Avatar, and you promised me to have, like, I don't know, some ways to get flying. You promised me like a new system coming out in the future. You promised me upgradability. Maybe this would be a way where they could at least say to those users, hey, we're not ready to do any upgrade kits yet. You can get these for $499. Everybody else has to pay $599 if you've bought the Goggles X. That would at least buy them some good faith. But I don't know. I mean, maybe if everyone can get this for $599, amazing. I'm going to guess, $499. I'm going to guess this costs $599, but it could even cost $650. If it's more than that, that's going to be a really hard sell. Probably the advantage they've got as well is they've got no real competition at the moment in terms of DJI. DJI is not in the picture, which means they don't have to be as aggressive on the price. So I don't know. Renner's saying, I think you're spot on probably. Okay, in the chat right now, everybody, what is it going to cost? What is this going to cost when Caddx releases this? Not what you want it to be. What is the actual cost from the Caddx website? No tariffs or anything. How much are they selling this for? $549. There you go. That's my guess. And it is an ELRS radio. But then again, it's got to be good too. So it's got to actually perform. If this doesn't perform, it's not worth it. If we're just getting beginner open IPC transmissions, which I don't expect, but and we've seen some DVR from it and it looked fine. You know, this is if it performs from everything that we want. All right. A lot of people saying $499. Someone saying $550. Other people up to $700. Yeah, then we're talking US dollars. Yeah, I think we'll have to see. Maybe we need to run like a little bingo card or something, like The Price is Right. All right, we're going to move on. I did have some other questions. If you're one of the other viewers who posted something, but I was going through this Caddx stuff, please throw that in the chat again. I'm going to see if I can find some things. I guess it's kind of a gateway product which gets them invested in the walk snail ecosystem. Yeah, this is Caddx's chance to continue to do what they do, which is find a niche. And I am grateful for everything that Caddx has done. They've definitely mucked some things up in the past, but the reason we have such cheap DJI goggles now is because the Goggles L exists. Without that, there is no way that DJI would have gone like, oh, let's just make a really cheaper, a more affordable value pair of goggles like the N3 if they didn't want to completely stomp all over Caddx. So it's great. This is a good example of competition in the marketplace. I feel like beginners won't pay $5.99 when you can already get analog kits for half of that. I don't know. I guess it's all about there is a big difference though between HD and analog turns a lot of people off as well. Like if they're not used to it, and especially if they're looking at they're used to looking at 4K playing games and things. So if you go back to an old school TV analog system, it can be quite jarring. And I guess maybe that's our job as the hobby to say, look, this is actually a worthwhile bundle if it works, if it's doing what it claims to do. We got Kiz in the chat as well. He's saying we've got a couple. Hey, sorry, I didn't see your chat there before, Kiz. If you don't know who that is, an absolute legend. I want to give a huge shout out to him, an inspiration, and someone that I feel very proud of knowing. So a shout out to Kiz. He's in the chat. He came into FPV, and this is what I love about it as well. It shows such a growth story of somebody who took a little bit to just share some of his FPV flight footage, and then lo and behold, now he is running races and crushing it, pushing out videos all the time, doing a lot for our community. So a huge shout out to Kiz. You should be very proud of what you've done for our FPV hobby, mate. Happy Fly RC is saying it looks like a cheap Amazon $50 quad with a digital system swap. A little bit, yeah. Well, it's all plastic. I don't think there's any carbon fiber in there. I'm really just interested though in the VTX system. Out of all of this is great. This is going to get people flying. But for me, I want cheap digital that we can put into our other craft. Maybe I want to build a wing, and I don't want to put a DJI 04 Pro into the wing. If I can put something that's cheap, gives me 1080p, 60 frames per second, that's fine. But again, I still really like the Caddx 1S system, so the avatar system. Neo is great for what it's intended for. All right. So that's our prices. Yeah. $550 USD. That's my guess. Other people, Johnny D is saying I love Caddx cameras. Analog ain't no 1080p. Analog's terrible to me starting out. Now I don't really notice the breakup. Yeah. It does take a little. It's just jarring when you're first trying to get into FPV and you see that breakup. A lot of people aren't used to it. And then I feel like this is something as a reviewer you have to be quite careful of, is you won't even notice that breakup. If you're reviewing an analog quad, you're like, man, that was such a great flight. Your brain almost just registers it out. It's like if you put one hand, you can do this right now. Here's a little experiment. You can put one hand over your left or right eye, keep talking, and have both eyes open, and your brain is just blocking this out. It's not like I can see the back of my palm right now. It feels like my hand isn't in there. I'm seeing straight through it. It is the same sort of thing when you are flying around. So it can be very tricky to be conscious of, you have to look for that breakup because your brain gets really good at filtering that noise out so you can have the right information. All right. I like the digital 16 kit. That's from Chocksnake. Warsnell does look pretty slick. Yeah, I like it. Other people complain about it. People say it looks smeary. I don't have any issues with it, but it also doesn't look nearly as good as DJI 04 Pros. But even if I went back to like the very first Avatar system, it's still awesome. It's still amazing. I don't know. Maybe I just have a lower standard of what I find enjoyable in FPV. But if this is me talking to my parallel self, no, who's never tried FPV before, I'd be like, you're gonna have a great time. But I'd have a great time with analog. All right. Sorry, I got totally distracted. We have just spent an entire hour talking about the protos system. Put that. I'm going to post it on DIY FPV as well. What I do want to talk about is I got some keys for this. It made my computer crash, not because of that. I want to talk about a, what was it called? Firehawk drone sim. I did this post right here, wherever this is. Let's have a look. I should have opened that on a separate. Here we go. So if you head over to DIY FPV and you would like a simulator key, just put a post right here. So this is like, would anyone like a Steam key for this? This is called Firehawk FPV Drone Warfare Simulator. They sent me some keys. I did want to check it out on stream today. I've been flying it with my TX15. It does have a few little bugs and quirks and everything. It doesn't feel like a full AAA game or anything like that. But if we head over here, this is basically what it is. I do not like that it's like a warfare simulator. I don't like that in the name. And I feel kind of conflicted because it was like, I don't know. Like, I don't like that combat side of things. When I was flying around, there were some really cool missions where you could, I don't know, just taking on like a giant mothership and things, or shooting things out of the sky or whatever. Like that part's kind of cool. I don't like the part if it feels like an actual simulator for training to cause some carnage or anything like that. So I don't know. Put a comment down below. I did want to play it and show you what it's like. However, that's why we're a little bit late. Like I'm having some major computer difficulties. You would have noticed that throughout the streams. My computer crashes all the time. Something is probably wrong with my graphics card, and trying to stream OBS, do this stream for you guys, and do a recording and play a game at the same time, it's just going to make my computer shut down. So I did want to do it. I'll probably try and do a separate recording that's not while I'm also live streaming. But yeah, this is go check this out. What is the price of this? $30. For me, that's a hard sell. Probably the crazy part about this, actually, as a bit of a review right now of this, the coolest thing actually is the levels. Like, I feel like they're much more fun than, remember like that boring liftoff level that's like a bunch of hay bales? The weakest part of this, I feel like, is the combat. The coolest part is actually the flying and the environments to fly around with, which is probably what I like about a sim anyway. And it does all the shooting and everything. That's all automatic. It was more just like I could practice doing some things. And if you can make flying around and learning the skills kind of fun, sure. The combat side of things and everything, less exciting. I don't know, but it was different. I feel a little bit conflicted, but I didn't hate it at the same time. Like, you are flying around some futuristic looking crazy, I don't know. It's like you can still like aviation and play Ace Combat or some, I don't know, fighter pilot game or something like that. So it's probably the name, Drone Warfare Simulator. That's probably the part that I have an issue with. All right. Handy Racer saying, I do like the maps. Oddly enough, having guns and cannons on the drone makes the game less of an FPV death simulator. And someone's saying they definitely need more content for the game as it gets a little bit repetitive. Yeah, I felt like too, the problem is playing this, you sort of get stuck in two mindsets of like, am I playing a game moving from point A to point B and then like trying to blow stuff up? Or am I actually trying to fly and do some cool flips and rolls and like practice a few trippy spins on the other part of the environment? So there's like it's a hard one to mesh together. And I wouldn't recommend it as my first sim. Like something fun, sure, maybe if you have a younger person that you're trying to get flying and they're just not quite getting enough stick time because they're used to, I don't know, a more engaging game, this is going to be up their alley. But I think something like Velocidrone or Uncrashed or some of the others out there, in terms of actual learning to fly, are going to be better. So I don't know. Go check it out. And if you would like a copy, I don't have keys for everyone, but I have a couple of keys. Just go put a comment right here. Head over to DIY leave a comment right here. I will go and find some people, and I'll be able to go into their profile and send them a message right here. Excuse me, my nose. Alrighty. Other than that, let me jump over here. Let's see. Someone's saying, I've got foot pedals for weapon controls, and it makes it way more fun and immersive than auto fire. That does sound kind of fun. Okay. Can you get the game video on goggles? You could run a HDMI cable into your goggles if you wanted to. I guess that would be taking it to the next level. You might feel sick. I don't know. I've never had good luck playing a sim into my goggles. It's made me feel quite ill. And I don't get much motion sickness. All right. Just a game to make it more fun while building that, that hand-eye coordination. Absolutely right. So yeah, anyway, go check it out. I might do a follow-up video if I can ever get my computer working. Shout out to the devs for sending me some keys. If you would like it, go leave a comment on DIY and I'll see if I can reply to a couple of people to get flying. Also, talking about DIY right here, if you usually head over to UAVFutures, this little tag right here under categories, this is where I do my posts. I also have this dolly fly right here, and this is like this one, but we have one to give away. It doesn't have an 04 Pro in there. Yeah, this is my one, but I have one that is without the, everything but the VTX. That's there to go out to one of you guys as well. So just do a post on DIY just use the site, show me something cool, do a cool flight video, post some questions, help some people. Just use the site, and I will find someone there to send you one of these drones as well to get flying. Have a good time. Just so that's there as well. You can go check that out. That should actually be under announcements, which it is actually. So yeah, go check that out. Alrighty, last thing I want to talk about. What else have I been up to? The rest of the day, I am going to finish building my chupito little wing. I am pumped for that. It feels like everything that I want to do. I have started the process of dry fitting everything, although I'm having some issues with the TBS getting my VTX to work. That is because apparently there's some profile setting that I need to double check. So I'm going to take the CLI dump off here and load it in. I'm still learning iNav as well. Oh, we're on the wrong screen. So this is what it is right here. It looks great. And I've seen Mads Tech doing some stuff as well. He is becoming, can I just give him a shout out as well, like my go-to information person when I'm like, oh, let's check this out. I really like the stuff that he's doing. I need to pick his brain a bit about 3D printing as well. But I have a lot of respect for that man. So go check him out. Let's see, iNav CLI suggestions. This is what I need to muck around with because I am struggling to get my VTX to work when I plug it in. What I do really like, let's get this on the screen. This right here, super easy. Like this is everything. I've had to solder my receiver. Everything else is basically plug and play. Like you plug your motor in, you don't have to solder it in. You plug your GPS in. Even my DJI quad, my DJI Air unit that I'm putting in here, the cable is ready. It's like plug and play. So I really, really like that. I just need to get that setting. Maybe there's a profile setting that I can get some power to it, but it should be working. I'm not sure why, but I like it. The price, I actually thought it was a bit cheaper. Unless they have changed the price, like the TBS Chupito kit, the actual airframe, $80. What does this come with? The wing and the spars. So yeah, this I think $80 is a pretty good price for what you get, and it's like a little baby brother of the Mojito. The Mojito is a little bit scary. I haven't had the best of luck with that. This is like exactly what I want. And so much so, this is how I know that I like this. I have one spare DJI 04 Air unit, and I'm putting it inside this because I just know that I'm going to be using this for a long time. And I'm probably going to try and put some LEDs and stuff on here as well. Just like a fun factor, which is exactly what I want from a little wing. Wings can be really, really cool and impressive and do some amazing things. I basically want a basher wing that I can take out to the park, fly around. I don't care if it comes in and bounces across the road and I've got to glue it back together, and it's designed to take a crash. I've seen some videos of this thing like crashing into fences and things. It looks great. So if you're into wings, stay tuned. I've got some really big plans with some cool things I want to do after I do my review with this. So I really like it. I think a lot of people are going to have some fun. Alrighty. Air unit or Air unit pro. I'm going to put a pro in this one. Just, I don't know. I like it. I don't have another light though. The only light I have is in my Lightning. Alrighty, $80 is not really the true price of the Chupito. TBS sites have insane delivery costs and other shops pricing the frame for $100. Okay, so $20 difference delivery. I don't know. I'll have to check it out. But whatever the shipping is, I can't answer that. I think if you can get this for $80, like, well, I don't know what a normal shipping price cost is as well from a local vendor. It's probably like $10 or something. And you don't have to use the flight controller and everything that this comes with. You can just use your own if you want to build up your own. You don't even have to use a flight controller. If you just want to slap a servo in and do it old school with a receiver. Yeah. Radio. Other than that, there is one more thing, and that is to say to you guys that you are important. Thank you for being here. We've run a little bit over time. This really is the best part of my working week. I've been a little bit under the weather lately. I've had the flu. It hasn't been great. Still recovering from that. And I was struggling to get ready for the stream. And a huge shout out to Johnny DRC and some of the members as well, because I was getting some messages like, "Hey Stu, when's your stream? I can't see it." It's like, yeah, okay, I'm loading it up. The computer was crashing. Luckily, we haven't had any crashes. Everything has worked, and I just want to say thank you for being here. It is the best part of my working week. I truly mean that. I am honestly grateful for your company while we sit here, we talk all things FPV. It's an absolute privilege, and I feel honored to be able to connect with you guys, talk with you guys about our love for FPV, and to also talk about mental health and to have a platform to maybe we change one person's life together, where we say, hey, it's okay. If you're not feeling yourself, if you're not feeling right, I am telling you now, it is okay. And you do not have to be alone. Other people have felt like that, and we are here together. And I don't want you to feel isolated or like you can't speak to anybody, because this community, these people here now watching this, we have such an amazing, positive group of people who love these flying little silly little toys, and I'm really proud of you. That's what I want to let you know as well. I'm proud of you that you are here, and I'm grateful that you are here. And my day is better because you guys are here. So thank you. Truly, thank you. I feel great starting this from before I started my stream to now connecting with you guys and talking, and just you guys make my day better. And I hope that in some way I make your day better. And maybe for one or two people, there could be a change there where they think, oh, I wasn't feeling right, but I might talk to somebody today. Today might be the day when you think, oh, I might just have a casual chat to the doctor, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm telling you, you are valued. Radio. You guys are absolutely amazing. Someone's saying we think we've all had that flu that's going around. Yeah, we've been so sick. It's been terrible. Like my kids have been ill. Now I've been ill. I got the sickest, actually. I don't know what that's about. And I just got my flu shot, which is probably the most annoying part. I don't think I'm going to get that next year, because I never go hang out with a whole bunch of people anyway. I'm usually working from home. I don't have that much contact with the outside world in terms of like getting crammed into a classroom like I used to be when I was a school teacher. Thank you, everybody. Today might be also the day when you say, hey, Stu, I really like your streams. I want to become a legend like some of the other people in here with that awesome little green name. Maybe you will become a member. So please think about becoming a member. It makes a huge deal and a huge difference to this channel as well. It's kind of like the lifeblood of this channel. YouTube's not what it used to be in terms of like ad revenue or anything like that. It is getting harder than ever to make content, but with your help, we can continue to do that, make more videos, get more people flying, change their lives, and promote this amazing hobby together. Plus, there's some bonus videos you can go and watch, and you get some cool little emojis as well. So yeah, go check that out. It will be greatly appreciated. Gamer Drone saying, thanks, Stu, get better. Shout out to Kiz and Happy Flyer RC, Handy Racer, Johnny D RC, everybody who's been here. It's been a great morning. Thank you. I will see you this time next week. And I'm going to go and build this right now. This is what I'm going to work on. I'm going to go literally take this CLI downstairs and see if we can get that VTX turn on. All right. I will see you all in the next video.